All right, welcome everyone to today's Lunch and Learn. My name is Jazzy, and I'm a health fitness specialist in San Rafael, for those who don't know who I am. And today we're going to be talking about stress management. It's kind of a perfect time to do so because there's a lot going on in the world right now. So, whoops, oh no, it's not letting me go. There we go. So our main focuses for today are going to be what is stress, what are the effects of stress, and ways that we can manage said stress. And we're also going to go over how to build resilience. So that's going to be kind of the main takeaway points for today. And so first off, I want to ask everyone that's listening, what is stress to you? What does that mean? Like, what does that look like for everyone individually? If anyone would like to share.
For me, it's not being able to focus because I have too much stuff on my plate, or I'm distracted by something outside of work or personal that might be bothering me.
Yeah, that's definitely can be very stressful when you're distracted. I know the feeling. Anyone else want to share? Thank you, Courtney, for sharing.
Yeah, I guess it's just not knowing the outcome, right? Uncertainty and like not being able to properly forecast what's going to happen in the future, and then just trying to survive this whole time in confinement.
Yeah, definitely. It can be very stressful when we don't know what can be coming up in the future. I know for me, stress can be anything from, feeling like I have a full plate and nothing to really manage everything that's on that full plate. And also, for me too, the, fear of the unknown, like it not knowing what's coming next can definitely be stressful for me. So, thank you both for sharing too. Those are great, things to think about when we're thinking about stress. And, the actual definition of stress is an automatic physical response to challenges or any situation that requires you to adapt to change. So, anything that is out of the ordinary can really put that stress on us as individuals. So moving forward, there are four main types of stressors. The first one is going to be mechanical or physical stress. So this is things like the stress that we put on our bodies, so our muscles, our bones, our ligaments, anything that is going to be governing movement in our body is going to be mechanical stress. So this can also be, a form of a quote unquote good stressor where, things like our workouts, if we're being physically active, if we're hiking a lot, whatever we do to be physical, that's going to cause that mechanical stress on our bodies. The next one is going to be metabolic stress. So that's going to be stress on anything that is inside of our body that has to deal with the metabolism, delivering and storing energy. So that's kind of what the metabolic stress is. Neurological stress is going to be stress on our brain, on our spinal cord, anything in our central nervous system, as well as the peripheral nervous system. So that can be things like your smooth muscle, your gut, anything that is governing movement and inside of the body in the nervous system. So that's kind of the difference between mechanical and neurological. Neurological is going to be more of your nervous system. And then finally, it is going to be psychological stress. So that's anything that has to do with your brain's output and how we perceive the things happening around us. So those are the main different types of stress that we can have. And it's crazy because our body perceives every single one of those stressors the same. So our body can't really differentiate between if we are trying to run from our lives away from a tiger, like our ancestors used to have to, or if we are just working out, or if it's a stress that we have, fear of the unknown, or if we have a deadline coming up that we're, stressing about, our body is going to react the same to every single type of stressor. And the body's main response is going to be cortisol. So we're kind of get to that in the next step. But right now, I kind of want to touch on stress and COVID-19 because that is something that is very prevalent right now. And it is a very stressful situation. So there's a lot, we already really did talk about fear of the unknown, which is great. That's something that we all kind of have internally right now. We don't know when we're going to be back at work. We don't know when we're going to be quote unquote returning back to normal, whatever that normal may be. So there's stress involving that. And then another thing that can happen because we're stressed because of the fear of the unknown is going to be difficulty sleeping. And sleep is going to be something that is so important for stress relief. I'll touch a little bit more on that later, but when we don't sleep, it can have a compounding effect on our bodies as a whole. So we definitely want to make sure we are going to be able to sleep. Having that different routine, we all have this new normal that we're doing. We're not going into work. We're not seeing the people we normally do. We don't get to go out to eat every day. Even going to the grocery store, it can be super stressful. I know for me, I love to walk at nighttime, but having to distance myself from people on the sidewalk, you're walking out in the middle of the street, and that can be something that can cause a little bit of stress too. So, having to deal with that different routine, which I hope by now we all kind of have a new routine, but still that can cause a lot of stress for all of us. The next thing on this list, too much media. There's so much information right now. We don't even know what is right, what is wrong, what to believe, what not to believe. There is just so much content to be consumed about COVID-19 that it can cause stress because we just are seeing so many different numbers every single day. And it's not only stressful because we don't want that to happen to us, but I know for me, it's stressful because I just feel so much emotion for all those people that are going through all this and all of the nurses and everything that are on the front lines. So, making sure that we're not consuming too much media every day. The next thing on here, changes in sleeping and eating patterns. We did already kind of touch on sleeping a little bit, but because maybe we are sleeping more or less or not our normal, our eating patterns and schedules can be thrown off a little bit, which can be a stressful thing because maybe we're focusing on how we're eating a little bit too much, or we're eating too differently, or what have you within that eating pattern. So that can also cause stress. And then kind of a stress response, I would say a little bit, would be the increased alcohol consumption. So not only in the Bay Area is it increasing, but I saw a stat on the news the other day, which I don't love to watch the news, but it was on the TV and I saw it, and it said that alcohol sales are up about 240% across the world, or not the world, I think the United States. And that's just so crazy because we're not going out to drink. So everyone's kind of, maybe coping with that stress by increasing their alcohol consumption, which might not be the best thing to help with stress because consuming alcohol, having too much of it or too often can disrupt your sleep routine. So that kind of all ties back in together because the body is definitely not everything is not separated, right? Everything kind of works together as a whole holistically. So we want to make sure we're approaching our stress management holistically, and we're taking in all factors of the body and life and what have you. So moving forward, when we are stressed out, our main response in the body is cortisol. So cortisol is your fight or flight hormone. So that's kind of, when you start to feel anxious or stressed, your body releases cortisol to kind of help combat that feeling. And it's, that flight or flight response. like I said earlier, your body doesn't know if you are actually running for your life or if it's, you're stressed because of the circumstances. So cortisol can kind of have a detrimental effect on your body. The first thing being mood changes. So cortisol can reduce serotonin and dopamine levels in your brain, and that can cause some major mood swings. And we definitely don't want to be doing that right now. It also, cortisol increased levels can cause belly fat deposition. Normally it will cause a little bit more weight gain around the stomach area. So it'll, cause you to hold on to a little bit more water, and then in turn you can also gain a little bit extra belly fat, which we, again, don't really want to be doing right now. And increased cortisol also can weaken the immune system. And our immune system right now is going to be of the utmost importance, right? We want to make sure that we're not having a weakened immune system in a time of a global pandemic. Cortisol also will cause systemic inflammation, which is basically inflammation throughout the whole body. So it can, inflame your intestines, which will make digestion a little bit harder. And it can inflame your joints, which will make moving a little bit harder. So we want to make sure that we're not, having that cortisol dump because we don't want to be inflamed. It also will cause salt, fat, and sugar cravings. Again, our serotonin and dopamine levels are off. So we're going to want more of those, sweet and savory foods that are going to help us mentally feel a little bit better. And the last thing on here, it will cause a increase in the blood pressure, which again, not something we really want to be happening. So these are kind of all the negative effects that cortisol has on the body from being stressed out a lot of the time. So here we have some ways where we can manage our stress, which will help build resilience. So first thing on here, breathing exercises. These are wonderful to do. There's a lot of different ways you can go about it. And after I go through this list, I'm going to bring you guys through a breathing exercise that is my personal favorite one to do. And the next thing on here, it's really important that you guys are taking care of yourselves and taking breaks throughout the day. So this can be anywhere from stretch breaks, which we did have one yesterday. Our program manager, Brittany, led it at about 2:30. So we're going to be having a little bit more of those. So that will be a really good way to kind of mentally reset and then get back to your work. It's going to be important that we're staying physically active, whether this is doing body weight workouts or doing our workouts that we post on Slack, or going for a walk every day, or if you have a bike, going on a bike ride. Really anything right now that is physical will kind of help to decrease those stress levels. Next on this list, meditation. Meditation is a great way to really calm your body down, get away from that central nervous system where you're fight or flight. It will really help you tap into that rest and digest phase, which is going to help you relax and decrease that cortisol. So that's going to be something that will be really good. Another thing that will be good is going to be journaling. So I know for me, I love to journal every day. This is where I practice my gratitude. And when I can focus on what I'm grateful for, it takes my mind away from the things that are stressing me out. So, journaling, practicing gratitude, things like that are going to be great. Up next on here, sleep. So sleep is going to be something that is really important. I touched on it earlier. We want to aim for 7 to 9 hours a night. That is going to be what is, going to help us not eat as much. We won't be cranky, so we can be nice to others around us, things like that. Sleep is going to be really important for not only our brain to recover, but our body as well. Next thing on here, building a community and connecting others. When we all have something similar happening to us, it's going to be really important to make sure that we all are able to connect with each other and we become stronger together. And I really want to point that out because, we can do whatever we can by ourselves, but the minute we all come together to, join and fight against whatever is happening, that can help alleviate some stress and be more resilient, because we can be more resilient. And then this last thing on here is going to be creating a new normal. And this link down here to this YouTube video, I would love to play for you guys, but it is 14 minutes long and we don't have that much time. but it is from Mark Verstegen, our president and founder of Exos. And I can send this link to everyone watching right now. We'll post it on Slack. And this is a great kind of video to watch because he talks about how we want to start with that ideal day. So right now is the best time to create that new normal schedule. Think about what we want to do every day that will make us our best selves and go from there. So if you say, I'm going to wake up at 6, I'm going to go to bed at 10. And then you kind of start to work in each hour the things that you can do or need to do that day to make yourself a little bit better than you were yesterday. So that's kind of what that ideal day is, and that's what that YouTube video linked below is. And the better we can manage our stress, the more resilient we're going to be in the future. So building resiliency is going to be really key right now. So that way we can, we want our immune system to be resilient, right? We want our immune system to be able to bounce back from this, but we also want to be mentally resilient. We want to be able to, know that we can and we will get past all of this stress that we're having right now. So let's take a second to breathe. So my personal favorite is going to be when you're sitting down, you're going to inhale for 6 seconds. You are going to hold that breath for 4 seconds, and then you are going to exhale for 10 seconds. So when we have a longer exhale than we do an inhale, that will help us tap into our peripheral nervous system, and it will help us calm down and relax a little bit more. So I want to walk us through this. So everyone, go ahead. You can, get comfortable. We're just going to do this 2 to 3 times, okay? So we're going to inhale for 6 seconds. So nice big breaths in. And then you're going to hold that breath for 4 seconds. And then we are going to exhale for 10. So 1, 2, 3, all the way to 10. And I'm probably not going to talk through this next one so that I can hold that for the correct amount, okay? So we're going to go ahead and breathe in for 6. So count to 6 in your heads. Holding for 4. And exhale for 10. And one more, you guys. Inhale for 6. Holding for 4. And exhale for 10. Awesome job, you guys. Hopefully that will help you all feel a little bit more relaxed, a little bit better. And now is the time where we have some time for a little bit of Q&A. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask away.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, Jazzy.
Yes.
In any of the, I guess the research you're doing for this, how big of an impact, proportionally, I guess I would ask, does exercise have compared to other strategies?
So with that, I did not really see anything that said one is going to be better than the other. Really, I just saw that, different ways to cope with this stress and different ways to manage it in this time. None of the articles or anything that I read said, oh, like it's going to be better if you do this, or if you do, if you meditate, or if you're working out. It was more of, here are some overarching ways that you can cope and manage with the stress that you have right now.
Great. Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Jazzy, this is not a question, but
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
I just wanted to say that this was super helpful, especially with the stress that everyone's feeling. It's kind of nice to know that like we're not alone in this.
Oh my gosh,
So
yeah.
it's super helpful. So thank you.
Oh my gosh, you're welcome. I'm so glad you found it helpful. Yeah, we're never in anything that we're going through are we alone. There's always going to be someone that is feeling the way you do. So I think it's important that, we take the time to build that community and create those friendships. So that way we always have someone, in our corner and someone to relate to. So I'm glad that you got that out of this. All right, if there's no other questions, then I will go ahead and let you all get back to your day. But thank you everyone for attending and listening to me talk for the last 20 minutes. But we always, appreciate that people are able to attend. So, and if you have any questions after this, feel free to reach out on either the Club 111 team at autodesk.com email, and one of us will be able to get back to you. And we also are available on Slack. And those are probably our two best ways to get a hold of us. So if you guys have any further questions, just reach out, and we're always here and happy to help.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Of
Jazzy.
course.
Bye.
Have a good day, you guys.